TEDx has a theme, and today our theme is fear itself. But what is fear? And how do you define it for yourself? Because we've all felt it. Whether it's that nagging feeling right before graduation, when you're trying to decide if you pick the right major, if you are going to find a career that you love, let alone a job after you graduate. Or it's that feeling when you're about to make a really big move, whether it's across town, across country, or across the globe, and you're wondering if you're ever going to find anyone who understands you, who gets you, who likes you. Or it's deeper, and the consequences are seemingly bigger. Back in 2012, I was offered the prospect of a new role at my company. I had just returned from a bit of a harrowing experience. I was a web reporter in the Middle East, and I was sent to Egypt to cover the aftermath of the uprising there. I was dodging rubber-coated steel bullets and these volleys of tear gas that would make your eyes sting and your lungs fill up like you couldn't breathe. And I was there to cover the first post-revolution parliamentary elections. Now, those elections would go on to be postponed because of deadly violence as the military moved in against anti-government protesters. That's what I was dealing with then. This new job, though, was nothing like that. And yet, it filled me with some of the same type of trepidation that I felt when deciding whether or not to deploy to Egypt. If I accepted a job in television that I had auditioned for, no less, when my fears were a little bit less present, I would become my channel's first on-air presenter to wear a hijab, or a headscarf. And though I was pretty sure I could do the job, the fear of failure made me think twice. The fear of becoming the stand-in for anyone and everyone's notion about what a Muslim is and what a Muslim woman looks like. The fear of knowing that if I failed, the failure and that burden would fall not just on my shoulders, but very likely on the shoulders of anyone, whoever came after me, wanting to do the job that I was attempting to do. And the fear of knowing that there could be millions of eyes on me, critiquing me, judging me, criticizing me. 310 million to be exact, because that's how many households our network is available to around the world. Now, those were my fears about 6 years ago. Spoiler alert, I said yes, accepted the job, and it was one of the best decisions of my career so far. And yet now, and since then, my fears more closely resemble those of the fears of those protesters who I covered in Egypt. Fears of my young Black male family members being pulled over by police, wondering how that encounter might end. Fears of images that I'd seen in my head, recalling not too long ago another young Black unarmed man who was struck by bullets 8 times at the hands of law enforcement in a fatal interaction in his own grandmother's backyard. Fears of leaving work one day only to be attacked in an incident of road rage, seemingly because of the simple act of wearing a headscarf. And though these are fears for me as of now, and just fears, for others they represent reality. Both of those stories happened within the last month alone. And sometimes it doesn't have to be that tangible. It could be the fear of being the only Black or brown face with a flat tire on a country road, the fear of traveling in an area where Confederate flags still unfurl in the wind, the fear of walking into a crowded space with a scarf the day after someone who claims to share your religion commits some heinous crime. Sometimes the scariest part is realizing that not all fears are overcomable. And not all fears are based on the unknown. Some are based on the very real precedent that's been laid out before you. Some are based on the need to practice self-preservation. So today, we'll hear advice on how to turn our fears on their head, how to motivate ourselves, not just to overcome them, but to use them to strengthen ourselves and those around us. Because we're never truly alone in this struggle, whichever of those struggles that it is. And today will be proof of that, as we're joined by 15 other live speakers, 1 performance artist, and an estimated 1,200 plus ticket sales and audience members, all in pursuit of understanding, recognizing, dealing with, and fighting against fear itself. Thank you.